hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello! So, today's video is super important. Number one, it's day 2 of GLOWMAS. Welcome to GLOWMAS. We're just at the beginning. Number 2, today's video marks my very first collaboration of GLOWMAS, which is my collab with Theresa is Dead here on YouTube. Woo! Okay, I adore Theresa. I love her so much. This video is supposed to be in a time limit, but I might allow myself an extra 2 minutes just to tell you how much I love Theresa. Oh my god, is she like the funniest person I've ever met? She's so incredibly funny. She's so witty. Her story times will just make your entire day. Her makeup reviews are so informative. The formatting in which she does makeup reviews is just the absolute best. If you are not subscribed to Theresa, I don't really understand what you are doing because she is a gift on this platform. She's so amazing. Her channel's been blowing up this year and I literally am so happy for her. She deserves every ounce of success that she has because she is so amazingly talented and awesome. Also, her and her husband have a podcast. I'll link that down below too. They're both amazing. I love Alex and I love Theresa, and Theresa is just, amazing. Could not have asked for a better person to start off these GLOWMAS collabs with. So with all my gushing out of the way, today's video is going to be revisiting a video I did almost 2 years ago now called 20 of the worst products from 20 makeup brands in 20 minutes. Basically, how quickly can I speak about makeup I don't like? The title is pretty self-explanatory. Going to be talking about 20 different products from 20 different brands that I don't like. You can go watch the video from 2 years ago, but I think there's only one thing that is the same. There's been a lot of new brands that I've kind of gotten more into. So there's new brands on the list, and also just I've tried more products this time around. So I thought it'd be fun to revisit this little challenge. You want to give a quick preface? Obviously, I have not tried every single thing from every single brand, so this is just based on the products I've tried. Also, I don't physically have a lot of these products anymore because I didn't like them. So I will put pictures up of the things I no longer have. And also, if I talk about a product that you love, no, you know what? We're not doing that disclaimer. We're all adults here. If I talk about something you love and I don't like it, we're just different people. Let's get into it. First thing, Rare Beauty. This cream blush. Rare Beauty is still a new brand, to give them credit. So there's not a lot to choose from, but I do have the majority of the things from their first couple of collections, and this cream blush I still do not like. I saw a lot of comments in my first initial review saying I should diffuse the blush on my hand before putting it on. Still hated it. It's still too pigmented. A lot of people said I got the wrong color. I'm not wasting my money on a different color because I don't like the formula. This product was not it for me. I don't like products that don't allow you to mess up a little bit. I am not the best at putting on makeup to start with. I need products that I can maybe mess up a little and then recover from that mess up. This does not allow me to do that. Even when diffusing it on your hand before putting it on, it is far too pigmented for me. Truly just doesn't work for me. Understand why other people like it. I do not. Next is from Colourpop, and it was a close one because there was a couple of things I really did not like this year, but the thing that won out was this stupid Candy Castle palette from Colourpop. There are certain products that enter my life that I have a vendetta against because I so strongly dislike them, and this is one of those. This palette from Colourpop was I think it's really not only the fact that it's bad, like it's not good. The colors don't show up. There's glitter in half of the mattes. Like it's not a good palette. So besides all of that, the disappointment that I felt with this palette was really real. Like I was so incredibly disappointed by how this palette performed because I thought the Candyland idea as a theme was such a good, solid theme that they could really play off of and do a lot with. And then they gave me this patchy pastel that blends into nothing boring palette. Also, taking a brilliant theme and making it boring for that reason, I hate this. I found that there was quite a few foundations on this list, which I thought was kind of interesting because I don't consider myself particularly picky with foundations. But for Fenty Beauty, my least favorite product from them is their Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation. I have to say, I loved their matte foundation, the initial one that they put out, and I know some people really hated that. I understand that this is very specific to skin types, but for me, for my skin type, I normally do like more glowy foundations. Something about how dewy this is really just makes me look greasy. I didn't like that it was so greasy looking and so oily looking. I know it's supposed to be dewy, but I have dewy foundations that do not perform the way this one does. I don't like that it's settled so much into my pores and fine lines, because I do have those, as you you know, most people do. And this absolutely settled into that. It made everything look really just like oily and sticky in my face and not great. And so for that reason, I'm gonna say for that reason 1,000 times in this video. So because of that, I did not enjoy this foundation, but I absolutely adore the matte one. But I think it might just be one of those things where it's like you either love matte one or you hate the matte one, or you love this one or you hate this one. You know what I mean? But it just depends. You love one or the other. I hate this. This was from Patrick Ta, and normally I really like Patrick Ta. I've really enjoyed most of their products. However, this balm was such a freaking scam. If you see the pictures of the balm, you'll see that it's got this really like nice creamy texture to it. No, it's hard as a rock, so hard to get into, and it is literally just an oil. There's not even like oil with glitter in it. It's not even, it is an oil. That's it. It's oil. It's oil in a balm package. Like, that's all this is. It is oily and gross, and I'm just not a fan. I thought what this was going to be was, I knew it would be oil based, but I thought it was going to be oil with like shimmer and glitter in it. No, no, no. No shimmer, no glitter, just sweat. Pure sweat in a balm. That's what I would call this, is the sweat balm. 10 out of 10, really disappointed in this, and it was so expensive, which makes it even worse. Also, incredibly sticky and uncomfortable. Like, even if you did like how this looked on your skin, which personally I do not, even if you did like how this looked, I can't imagine that it would be comfortable to have on you, because it makes every part of your body incredibly sticky, which I don't think would be fun. No, sweat. This is sweat. Next we have Huda Beauty, and for this I had to put the Huda Beauty foundation, full coverage foundation. I initially wanted to like this product because it was kind of my first real full coverage foundation like that. I hated it. It was always just made me look so textury. I looked so pasty. Everything got caked on there because it was so matte, so full coverage. It didn't even look good on camera. Like, it was almost too full coverage for camera and pictures. I don't really understand how people made that work. I guess if you use like a very small amount. Even then, it was just so overpowering with how full coverage it was, and also the scent was horrible. I honestly never really reached for this when it was in my collection, and when I decluttered it, I was glad, because it really just took up a lot of space because the packaging was really bulky. Next we have Anastasia Beverly Hills, and for Anastasia Beverly Hills, I shockingly chose kind of an older product, but I remember how bad this was. The Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzers were a sham. I don't know if that's the right word. They were a sham. No, the Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzers were just really bad, honestly. They were so bad. They were so powdery. I remember like getting the one I got, which was tawny, and I put my brush into it to go, you know, apply bronzer, and it was just like a explosion of freaking powder everywhere. It was so incredibly powdery, so patchy on the skin. It didn't blend out right. It was super uneven to apply. The coloring was so off on all of the different colors. I remember I got the one that was for like light skin tones, and it was so incredibly dark and very orange and like red based. All of the bronzers, if I'm remembering right, were a very red base. So the coloring was super off. Everything about those bronzers was really bad, and that was actually a product I returned. I don't typically return things because I don't like the waste, but that was like an unusable product for anyone in my life, or that I could have given it to. It was honestly unusable and not a good product. So weird, because you would think that because they had the contour palettes, that would have been an easy one to replicate, but no, the bronzers were horrible. I'm not gonna harp on this, I promise, because if you've been following me for a long time, I am a broken record who will not shut the up. But the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow palette is the worst product to ever come out ever, and the only reason I put it in, because I know I promised I'd stop talking about it, but the only reason I put it in was because they came out with this freaking thing in a mini, and I don't want you to waste your money on the mini. I don't think you should waste your money on a mini Bronze and Glow palette, because it's really not that good, and even for the price of the mini, you could get a much better full-size bronzing palette that actually works well for you versus this. Biggest scam. Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow. The only good thing about it is the packaging. Okay, next for Hourglass, we have the Hourglass Caution Mascara. This one I did only try in a sample, so I am willing to give the benefit of the doubt that maybe the sample just wasn't accurate to what the actual mascara was. But from what I got from this, it was very much a clumpy mess, kind of clump city. Normally I really love Hourglass products. I love their bronzers, I love their blushes, I really like their highlighters. Like, I enjoy Hourglass a lot. However, this particular product really missed the mark for me. And if I'm remembering correctly, that Caution mascara was actually relatively expensive. It was in the upper 20s. I believe it was closer to $30, which is super overpriced for mascara. So to even have any amount of clumpage going on was honestly ridiculous. So that product as a whole, I know I didn't buy the full size, but that one is the one I would have to pick for Hourglass as the worst, just based on my experience. The clumpage was just unreal. Like, it was so much clump. This next one I have, this is from KVD Beauty, and this is their Portrait Foundation. Oh my good God, I dropped it. Fast videos, I drop everything. Okay, the KVD Portrait Foundation. I bought this like a while after Kat Von D said she was leaving the brand. It was pretty recently. Had to have been a few months ago, a couple months ago. This is like their medium coverage foundation because they have a full coverage one, which is the Lock-It foundation. That was actually my very first high-end foundation, and I did like that one. This is horrible. Like, I know I'm like, oh, some things settle in. This looked like I had scales all over my face. This is on sale right now, and it's not surprising to me that it is because the formula on this is so, you know how they say skin-like for really good foundations? What's like anti-skin-like? What would that be? Fish-like? Aquatic animal-like? This gave me scales all over my face. This clung to every imperfection I have on my poor face, every fine line, every texture, not even that. Places I don't even have texture, suddenly I did. It sat on the skin, like on top of it, like a film, instead of kind of sinking into it and giving that really nice skin-like glow. This was so bad. And also, I couldn't tell you if this was like a matte or a sheen finish, because in some places it would be kind of patchy, and then in other places it would break down and separate and get really oily. Overall, horrible foundation. Would not recommend this at all. This is one for like, I normally try with foundations, I'm like, well, different skin types. I don't understand how this would work for anybody. If this worked for you, I'd be very interested to know how, because for me, this was a absolute mess of a foundation. Horrible. Packaging's kind of cool, but horrible. Okay, next from Marc Jacobs, we have the Holiday Collection highlighter, which was their black packaging pink highlighter. I don't know why they changed the formula. They had such a good formula going with the gold. They had the gold gilded highlighter. They had this white highlighter, and then they put out this pink sparkly one, and I don't know what they did and why they changed that formula, because it was good. That gilded highlighter formula was so good. I don't know why they changed it for that pink sparkly one, but all of a sudden the formula was dry, it was patchy, it didn't have a lot of pigment to it, it went on the skin in like a strip. Again, instead of like sinking in, it sat on top of the skin. It had like a scratchy texture to it. The glitter was absolutely like one of those glitter sprays they sprayed over everything, so it was super glittery at first, and then all of a sudden it was just like nothing. This highlighter was so bad, and it sucks because if they had made a pink highlighter in that gilded formula, I think it would have been a huge success for them. But now these highlighters are literally always on sale and nobody buys them, and I think it's because this highlighter was so bad because they changed the formula. Next, we have the Melt Radioactive palette. I've talked before about my disdain for certain products from Melt Cosmetics. The Radioactive palette in particular was the worst palette that I tried in 2020. I will be making a video about it. I guess technically I tried it in 2019, but that palette was so bad. It was so bad. The purples were unblendable. Everything about it was so unblendable, patchy, just so difficult to work with. I had the worst time with this palette, and I have friends who said it worked really well for them, and I don't know how, because I couldn't get any color payoff. I couldn't build things up. I couldn't make things not patchy. I had zero success with the Radioactive palette. Next, we have NARS Orgasm. This sucks. This was the same one that I said back in like 2018. The NARS Orgasm blush, I know it's like their cult classic. It's not good. I don't understand why people like it. It has no pigment. You can't build it up, and it's not good. And that's all I have to say about that. Next, from Too Faced, I decided to just go with a classic thing that I disliked from Too Faced, which was the Better Than Sex mascara. It's not good. Kind of similar to the Hourglass one. It's a clumpy mess. I really don't understand the hype. I will say the waterproof one absolutely slaps, but this particular formula of it, super clumpy. The brush is super weird to work with. There's certain ones like NARS Orgasm and the Too Faced Better Than Sex that were like really cult classics that I just don't understand why. And the only thing I can think of is that makeup was just like the way people applied it was different, you know? Next, we have Urban Decay. This is my most controversial opinion. The Urban Decay setting spray does nothing. and it's bad, and it does nothing. It doesn't make your makeup last longer. It does nothing for you. And that is all I have to say about that. I will not be taking questions at this time. Thank you. Next, the next product is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Oh man, I have so many things to say, but I'll keep it brief. If you put this stuff on, you have 3, maybe 4 milliseconds to blend it out, or it is stuck the way that you put it on forever. This stuff did not blend out. It stuck into my creases in my eyes. It creased right in there and made my under eyes look like a crinkly mess, which granted, it is a crinkly mess under my eyes, but this concealer did not help me with that. It did not conceal any of that. It crinkled right in there. And I think they mean it's like the camo concealer, because if you were to put that on and then rub your face in a bunch of dirt, that concealer wouldn't move because it is so stuck in place the second you put it on your skin. Next, from Juvia's Place, I have this one too. It is the Juvia's Place setting powder. I initially did not mind this powder. However, as I've kind of progressed in using it, it is just so much pigment to it, almost to a fault. I think if you like a really pigmented setting powder, then this will be really good for you. But I find that if you have kind of crinkly under eyes, pigmented setting powders definitely tend to settle into your creases a lot more. It's just a thicker powder. I definitely prefer now a much thinner loose powder. This has like an unsifted flour texture, whereas I like a sifted flour texture. Does that make sense? I don't know. I only have 2 minutes left. Anyway, I don't like this one, my least favorite product from Juvia's Place, but it was kind of hard to find a product I didn't like from them. I had to remember that I had this because frankly I like most of Juvia's Place's stuff. Kylie Cosmetics. Okay, I can only speak for this palette, but I know that her little 9 pans are so much worse than her bigger eyeshadow palettes, and because I've had both, the 9 pan eyeshadows just don't perform as well. They're not as pigmented, they don't have as much to them. I think the reason they're always on sale is because they're frankly not that good. The color stories of these are cute, which is why I bought this one. I thought the color story was cute. This formula in particular, none of these shades show up. The only one that even remotely does is Cocoa and Spice Plum down here. The shimmers are dry and have really no shimmer to them. They're just kind of like satin shimmer shades, which I know some people like. Personally, I'm not a fan. I just feel like she could have done a lot with this color story. It's a cute idea, but the formula just isn't there. They blend into nothing. They barely show up. I think the 9 pans are my least favorite thing from them because the actual formula is so bad. Next, we have a product that I really did this to myself. I bought this highlighter because of the packaging, and this is actually one of the last times I've done this. This was the MAC Electric Neon collection or something like that. And this highlighter was such a letdown. It was so bad. It was so bad. It had a glitter spray over it instead of actually being like a nice highlighter, which is what I thought it was gonna be. It ended up being super scratchy and dry as a formula, which is very different from a lot of the other MAC highlighters I've had. Just overall, really was not impressed, and also kind of turned me off to buying these limited edition releases from MAC, because that taught me that they definitely do lower the quality of their limited edition releases, which they don't do with their more permanent collection. I've noticed their permanent collection almost always performs better than these limited edition ones, even though the packaging is way cooler. So don't buy things for the packaging. Finally, wow, my throat hurts. This was a lot. Finally, the final thing I want to talk about is the Morphe Matte Setting Spray. Oh my god. Okay. The one good thing that I always talk about from Morphe is the Morphe setting spray. I will consistently say that I don't like the brand, but that setting spray, the nozzle they came out with was genius. Continuous setting mist is great. They came out with it in a matte formula and they botched it so bad. For some reason, the spray, I think because it was probably a thicker formula, spray did not have an even disbursement. So when it sprayed, you would get these massive drips on you, which defeats the purpose of the continuous mist. Formula itself too was incredibly sticky, incredibly gross on the skin. It actually in some cases made my makeup look worse because I had those huge dots of like this really, really mattifying spray on me. Overall, awful. I can't believe they went from something so good to something so bad so quickly in such a similar way. But hey, that's Morphe. And with that, my video is done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. I'm merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below. And that's it for me. I hope this video was under 20 minutes. Thank you, Editing Hannah, for doing your best. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Happy Glowmas. Goodbye.